The way we build doesn't just change skylines, it can also change lives. Hello and welcome, I'm Sadhika Tiwari and you're watching Eco India. Across our cities and coasts, the one thing that we're learning is that construction isn't just about steel and concrete. It can also be about restoring a hillside, reviving a shoreline, or creating homes that can protect both us and our planet. And keeping this in mind, buildings don't really have to be a part of the problem. They don't really have to be the conventional steel, concrete, glass structures that trap heat and consume endless energy. The walls that we live within can also protect us and not just contribute to an existing crisis. In Bengaluru, a handful of residents and architects are turning to a material as old as civilization itself. And this could be a larger solution to look at as the world is dealing with rising heat.
The windows are small and the walls are meters thick, but unique features still allow plenty of light. Sindhur Pangal lives in a most unusual house, one built without cement or steel. The walls are made from mud.
Most of the materials that we have used are either reusable, it's not one-time materials, so it's either reusable or completely natural, which means that after my time is done, it will decompose into the earth without leaving a nasty footprint behind, which is also important for me.
Sindhur lives on the outskirts of Bagalur, a suburb of Bengaluru. In the city of more than 12.5 million, the summer heat can be unbearable. Back in 2010, the average May temperature was 28 degrees Celsius. Today, it's 34. Swathes of traffic and concrete only increase temperatures. Sindhur Pangal wanted an alternative. A team of architects designed her house and spent 4 years building it. Mud keeps out the summer heat while improving air quality on the inside. For the walls, traditional building techniques were used.
This wattle and daub technique is called skin and bone of a structure. So wattle is basically like any wood woven together. For instance, here we have used bamboos. So we had a lot of bamboos like cut into strips and weaved together as made as a panel. So it has lots of gaps also. Like in that gap, we fill it with mud and make it as a skin for it.
The porous structure of the mud also provides sound insulation. But Sindhu's house is far from the norm. 93% of Bengaluru is concrete jungle. Buildings here are made from cement, concrete and steel, and their production uses huge amounts of energy. Around 1/3 of greenhouse gas emissions in India come from the construction and operation of conventional buildings. Architect Sridevi Changali finds numbers alarming.
Those buildings are hot boxes. You have just your concrete floor plates and you just enveloping it in glass. There's nothing to do but to air condition it. How much energy you're going to require and how much heat that compressor unit is throwing out is just, it's not only the energy consumed, it's also the heat that is being thrown out from the insides of these buildings.
In Shulagiri, 70 kilometers from Bengaluru, the architect and her team are working on another project. Again, the principal material is mud. It usually comes from nearby, which keeps transport costs and the carbon footprint low.
Basically using your senses to understand the kind of soil you have on site.
But the quality varies depending on the location. So before it can be used, the mud has to be tested.
Clearly this is more gravelly. Basically using your senses to understand the kind of soil.
The architects use the results to determine how much cement needs to be mixed in to make it more stable. Instead of using increasingly scarce sand, they add quarry dust.
Then we wet it to a humid mix. So it's not a very plasticky texture or anything. It's just enough to kind of mold it into something and to activate the clay in the soil. We make the wet mix and then we pour it into our shuttering. So this wall that you see is actually a shuttering that is of this length, and then we keep doing it layer by layer.
The plan is to keep the walls like this. The architects tell us that the house owner doesn't intend to change anything in terms of color or surface. The team also uses mud on the roof in the form of bricks.
It's 9-inch thick and it has a beautiful thermal mass. So it really blocks the heat and it slows the penetration of heat by a lot while you're building it.
Back at the mud house of Sindhur Pangal near Bengaluru, even for the walls surrounding the property, the architects looked for a sustainable solution and finally found one.
These stones are like sourced locally from the quarries. These are all waste stones. They are not actually of good size and all. So these are after cutting the rocks into a perfect shape, you get waste pieces.
The costs for building with mud are indeed about 10% higher than conventional building. But long term, homeowners save electricity costs on air conditioning in summer. Sindhur Pangal has never regretted the move to her mud house on the city's outskirts.
I wanted to create something where others can learn from it. So I wanted to create a space which would be a learning space, and at the end of it also showcase what is possible with mud.
And interest is clearly growing because she regularly gets visitors who want to learn more about sustainable building with mud.
Cities expand, and in the very process, they erase the landscapes that once defined them. Where we stand right now with concrete under our feet and skyscrapers in the backdrop, there once was a living green forest. But when citizens step in, not to stop growth, but to protect what must not be lost, we see balance. In Pune, the love for its beautiful hills is driving people to protect them. And it's not just about the environment anymore. It's about holding on to their identity, memories, and the right to breathe clean air.
Rustling leaves, butterfly sightings, bird song. This green haven feels like a part of a forest or a national park, when in fact, it's one of the many hills within the bustling urban metro, Pune. Being nestled within the Western Ghats has given Pune a rare gift. Its hills, or tekris as they are called in Marathi. Today, we are on the Pashan Hill with Amay Jagtap, a nature lover and a prominent member of the citizen-led Green Pune movement, who have been instrumental in protecting these spaces.
What you see today, this greenery that you see today is something that the Punekars have contributed. They were all barren hills.
On the other side of the city, Anand Kumar takes us on a trail, but this green oasis once looked very different. It was an unofficial garbage dump and a gutter full of waste.
Where we've entered with you today, until as far as the other end, there was stagnant water this high. You would have never seen something like that ever. And it was open, there was no path. Trucks would just come by, dump the illegal waste and leave. Then we got some people to help, and our Anandvand Urban Forest team came into existence. Together we must have cleared about 30 to 40 tons of garbage out of this place.
Over 12 years, Anand Kumar has mobilized support from local residents, volunteers, students, and experts. Today, they work in collaboration with Maharashtra's Forest Department to restore hill ecosystems across Pune. This task requires hard work and commitment, as it takes 5 to 7 years of consistent nurturing to restore forests. Even as Punekars put in the work to protect and restore these green spaces, there is a looming danger of unchecked urbanization. In the race to becoming economic powerhouses, Indian metro cities have often sacrificed their once treasured ecological features. Hyderabad has all but lost its ancient rock formations, and Bangalore, once called the city of lakes, is losing lakes at an alarming rate. The people of Pune were determined to avoid this fate. In fact, if it wasn't for the timely intervention of its citizens, there would be no tekris left to protect today.
Punekar stood up from 2002. There were objections raised in thousands. Like I remember 70,000, 80,000 objections were raised from Punekars. Punekars came on the streets. Punekar fought a legal battle. So from 2002 to 2015, Punekar had that consistency to protect the hills because they have a connection with the hills of Pune.
It was because of the people's dedication that approximately 978 hectares of land within Pune city limits has been officially designated as biodiversity parks. covering the city's hills and their slopes.
Making roads right next to the tekadis, making a tunnel under the tekadi, all in the name of environmental friendly development. Pouring cement and concrete officially. These are some of the biggest threats that we are facing today.
Such as the proposed Bal Bharti Pod Fata road project that would cut across Vetal Tekri, one of Pune's most central and beloved hills. Pune citizens are once again fighting this project within the system. While some protests are planned and organized, others are emotional and spontaneous, like the Meet the Hill movement, started by a group of 13 to 16-year-olds.
The main aim is to technically not let anyone construct on this hill. That's the main aim, because we wouldn't want to disrupt the ecosystem. We have so many birds here, so many animals. People love this hill. It's part of our community.
Pune's people have been working tirelessly to protect its hills. They are willing to do whatever it takes, be it through physical labor, through advocacy and policy, through education and awareness, and more. They do this not just because of their connection to the hills, but because they know what is at stake and that it requires their vigilance and determination to protect it.
If in Pune it's the hills that need saving, in Sundarbans it's the very ground beneath people's feet. This vast mangrove delta, where millions live between the shifting rivers and the seas, is crumbling under the pressure of rising sea levels. Concrete has failed the people here again and again. So now scientists are trying something different, using terracotta to build living shorelines that can protect both people and the land.
Life for people in the Sundarbans is on a knife edge. Their future hangs in the balance. This vast mangrove delta, the largest on earth, is home to more than 4.5 million people, including small farmers like Madhusudhan Barkandaj. His 2-acre paddy field is his family's only source of income. But rising tides, sinking land, and increasingly violent cyclones are swallowing riverbanks, and with them, the fragile livelihoods of many like him.
When Cyclone Ayla struck in 2009, we suffered huge losses. Most families lost 200,000 to 300,000 rupees. There was a foul odor of rotting fish, farm animals, birds, dogs, cows, etc. Everyone fell ill with diarrhea. The earthen embankment near the river collapsed and many people died. We took the whole family to Chennai, Kerala and Tamil Nadu for migrant work. After 10 years, we returned and rebuilt our home. Everything had been washed away. We had nothing.
Protecting families like Madhusudan's has never been easy. The region has seen embankments built and rebuilt. Concrete defenses have proven costly, and they are often not effective. Now, ecologists are drawing on knowledge from the past. Adapting ancient well technology, they are using terracotta rings to trap silt and help shorelines grow.
One of the reasons for this structure that we have created here is to try and see if we can halt or reduce the rate of erosion. What we've done here is we've created modules made out of bamboo and silt traps. Each module is 3 rings in length, so it's about 6 feet because each of them are about 2 feet. This is a cheaper intervention than a concrete or armored embankment. This is like a natural embankment for the forest land behind.
These rings are made by local artisans like Shantanu Pal. As demand grows, the need for the terracotta rings is also giving potters a reason to keep their centuries-old craft alive.
We have to mix 3 ingredients: sand, silt and clay. They have to be mixed correctly, otherwise it will be wasted. For the mangrove project, I also fire the terracotta for longer. Otherwise, there is a chance it will be damaged by the currents. I feel proud that this product is being used for such an important purpose. If the mangroves are saved, our nature will be saved too.
With their simple and biodegradable design, The rings are cheaper and have a small carbon footprint than concrete. Producing cement, the main ingredient in concrete, involves heating limestone, which releases carbon dioxide, so concrete is a major CO2 emitter. By contrast, terracotta's main impact comes from the type and amount of fuel used in kilns, which can be reduced with more efficient firing.
Terracotta rings are, made of earth. Even if they break over a period of time, they'll become part of the ecosystem. This particular installation is nearly 6 months old now, and the way it has held, the way silt is accumulating, now I also see it being used by other organisms as part of their habitat. Given that this is like a perforated structure, our assumption is it will hold fine. Also, for the reason that during cyclones, the water levels go up, and if this goes underwater, then there is no threat to the structure.
Terracotta rings are no magic fix, according to researcher Tuhin Ghosh, but he says they have begun to show promise, especially in places where the rivers carry enough silt and the local conditions are favorable. But in a delta that's sinking fast, Ghosh warns that solutions for climate-based problems can't be one-size-fits-all. He says they have to be grounded in precise, local-specific data.
If you see about the rate of sea level rise in this region, that is varying from 2 to 12 millimeter. For 2 millimeter sea level rise, your policy decision will be different from the 12 millimeter sea level rise, and the inundation level will be different. So you need to come up with some kind of calibration involving people who are working on this area, and then you go for the policy decision. But the research, a lot of research is going on, systematic research is not going on. There is scope of lot of experimentation with terracotta, but we need some fund, we need some changed mindset, and we need some kind of innovative approach. That is the most essential thing for the solution.
But for Madhusudan Barkandaj and millions of others in the delta, every patch of land saved makes survival a little easier.
River erosion is our only major problem. If this erosion stops, we won't have to face such problems again. We feel good here. We love living in our homeland.
But securing the future of this fragile delta will take more than local fixes. It requires urgent, science-driven policies that match the resilience of the people who call this land home.
Finding a safe home is a daily struggle in the Sundarbans because of the rising seas. But housing in different ways is a struggle in almost every city in the world now. To find a safe, affordable home is harder than ever in these times, especially now. In the UK, where homelessness is rising, a solution is coming up in the parking lots. These aren't just any homes, they're self-sufficient pods. But could this way of building be the future of living in our cities?
Underused car parks, concrete land covering vast areas. It's a widespread phenomenon around the globe. Could they hold the key to climate-friendly affordable housing? We're in Bristol in the southwest of the UK. The city's population has grown by roughly 10% in the past decade. Space is hard to come by. An average rent costs around £1,500.
I don't think we could still live in Bristol at this point if we weren't living in here. Because I think the size of place we'd need and the rents that are kind of asked for that, I just don't think we could do at all.
Sam Jones and her little family live in a special place. Above a car park, not too far from Bristol's city centre, in a so-called Z-Pod. The couple pay roughly £500 per month. The low rent gave them the confidence to start a family. They've been living here for 5 years and look out for their fellow tenants, who have often spent years without a permanent home. They offer help wherever they can. This has built a close community. They love living here, also because these residential buildings are so energy efficient. Unlike older social housing, they have heat pumps, solar panels, and also triple glazing for proper insulation.
I guess in terms of the house, Yeah, it's very warm in winter, and it's mostly cool in the summer. It's been pretty cool. You know, it's been really heat waves recently, but there's definitely been some times where you open the door and it's just like, yeah, it is really cool in here. You know, that's really nice.
The Z-Pods don't take up extra space. They rethink architecture in dense urban areas and cut emissions. Roughly 37% of CO2 emissions are linked to construction. Around 100 modular homes like this have been built across the UK in collaboration with local councils, and they are needed. The cost of living and the lack of affordable housing puts many people at risk. In England alone, homelessness rose by 14% between 2023 and 2024. The demand for affordable housing is huge. Construction companies are busier than ever. This is where the Z-Pods are built, at a factory in Peterborough, off-site. That reduces disruption in local neighbourhoods. Jason Bassett has always worked in construction, but building the Z-Pods is something different for him.
The decorating's been done, so we're just going to check on the gap. When we do work on building sites, as I've done in the past, the wastage ratios were very high. You know, we used to typically have 25% of the waste going into skips and then going to landfill, which was really heartbreaking. The great thing about the products we choose is that we can upcycle or recycle those products 100% through the factory.
All the packaging goes back to the producers to reuse. Remnants of sustainable rock wool insulation are recycled into a new batch. Careful planning minimizes waste. Vehicles here are electric to reduce the carbon footprint, although a lot of the work relies on real manpower, not machines. Each unit takes 16 days to complete before being delivered. But there's something else that sets this place apart. Of the 48 staff, 30% are or were prisoners. They have been trained at the factory and can work here upon release. It keeps reoffending rates lower. Craig Smith is out of prison now. This job gives him prospects and self-esteem.
Oh, it's great, you know, positivity around, you know, especially with mental health and things like that, you know, after being released from prison, you know, day-to-day tasks is a lot harder. But now, you know, the future's brighter.
Yet there is a lack of skilled workers. London-based structural engineer Konstantinos Tsavdaridis works and researches in the field of modular construction. He sees it as a faster, greener alternative, but not enough alone to solve the UK's housing crisis, which needs 300,000 new homes a year.
Modular is one of the best ways, the best bets that we have at the moment. The issue, I would say, with modular is that we cannot build to that fast pace that we need to, because we don't have the capacity of the manufacturing capacity.
But he believes that will change. Back to Bristol, where there were once old garages, now there are 12 new homes in the south of the city. These Z-Pods are about to be handed over to the council. Councillor Barry Parsons is given a tour by Z-Pod's operations director Rihan Kodabukus. 22,000 people are on Bristol's waiting list for social housing. The city is also pursuing climate neutrality, tackling both challenges at once.
When we're talking to our residents about sustainability and the climate challenge, often the thing that really gets through to them is if you talk about, well, this means that your home will be cheaper to run and it will be warmer, you and your family will be more healthy because you're living in a high quality home.
Costs matter for tenants, but also locations and opportunities to make a decent living.
There's huge potential. We have so many underutilised spaces in the UK. What we want to do is protect the greenfield sites, those meadowfield sites, and start building on those brownfield sites. They're within the city centres or they're within areas where there's going to be the most easy access to public transport or to jobs and employment. So they're very good sites to build in.
Although the housing crisis is not going away anytime soon, it's innovations like this that can pave the way for climate-friendlier buildings while giving some the ability to plan their future.
That's all for today's episode. As we've seen, whether it's about protecting the hillsides or reimagining our homes, the way we build can decide our future. The real question is, what kind of a future are we choosing to construct? Are you seeing building being used as a tool for protection around you? We'd love to know. Thank you so much for joining us. And do not forget to follow us on our Instagram at DW_environment. I will see you next week with more such stories. Until then, take care. Goodbye. Namaskar.